She stood at the gate, ticket in hand, calm and confident. Her name was Dr. Naomi Carter, elegant, composed, and dressed in a sleek gray business suit that hinted at quiet power. She had a first-class ticket and a flight to London. But before she could even step onto the jet bridge, everything changed. The gate agent frowned. "Ma'am, I think you're mistaken. First class is boarding now." Naomi smiled politely. "Yes. That's me." The agent's expression didn't change. "I'm sorry, ma'am. This line is for first class only. Economy boarding will be soon." A few passengers nearby smirked. One woman whispered, "Maybe she printed the wrong ticket." Another man chuckled. "Happens all the time." Naomi felt the sting. But she said nothing. She simply handed over her boarding pass again, a black card with her name embossed in gold. The gate agent scanned it. Beep. Her eyes widened. "Dr. Carter. I'm sorry, I didn't realize." But it was too late. Someone else had recorded the entire exchange. Within seconds, the whispers turned to murmurs. And then, gasps. Because everyone suddenly recognized her face. They'd seen her before, on the news, in magazines, on panels speaking about equality, justice, and change. The woman they tried to humiliate at the gate wasn't just any passenger. She was one of the most powerful black CEOs in the country. What happened next would shake the entire airline, and remind everyone that respect should never depend on assumptions. Stay till the end, because what this woman did next wasn't revenge, it was power served with grace. The morning sun shimmered over JFK Airport as Dr. Naomi Carter arrived at Terminal 4. She was heading to London for a global leadership conference, one where she would be the keynote speaker. At just 39, Naomi had built a billion-dollar biotech company from scratch. Her research had revolutionized cancer detection, and her company was now leading clinical trials in more than 20 countries. But beneath her calm demeanor was a woman who had learned to fight, not with fists or fury, but with excellence and restraint. As she approached the counter, she greeted the gate agent with a smile. "Good morning. First class check-in, please." The agent, Heather, barely glanced up. "Passport?" Naomi handed it over. Heather looked at it, frowned slightly, then at Naomi. "You're traveling alone?" "Yes," Naomi said, keeping her voice even. Heather gave a tight smile. "Okay, well, first-class boarding hasn't started yet. You can wait near the gate." Naomi nodded, used to the subtle tone, that hint of disbelief that followed her almost everywhere. When boarding was announced, Heather's voice rang out over the intercom. "Now boarding first-class passengers for Flight 72 to London." Naomi stood and walked forward, carrying her sleek leather briefcase. But before she could scan her pass, Heather raised her hand. "Ma'am, I said first-class passengers." Naomi blinked. "I am." Heather sighed. "This line is for premium boarding. Please step aside." A few people chuckled. Naomi looked at them, her jaw tightening slightly. She handed her pass anyway. Heather rolled her eyes and scanned it. Beep. And then everything froze. The monitor displayed. Carter, Dr. Naomi, first class, priority elite member. Heather's face turned pale. "Oh. Dr. Carter, I didn't realize." Before Naomi could respond, a murmur rose from the crowd. "Wait, isn't that the woman who founded Novogene?" "No way. That's her. She was on CNN last week." Cameras lifted. Phones clicked. Heather stammered. "Ma'am, I truly apologize, I thought." Naomi looked directly at her. "You thought what, exactly?" Heather swallowed hard. "Nothing. Just a misunderstanding." Naomi's voice was calm but sharp. "You saw my face, and you assumed I didn't belong here." Heather opened her mouth, then closed it again. By now, a few crew members had stepped forward. The captain himself appeared, alerted by the commotion. "What seems to be the issue?" he asked. Heather hesitated. Naomi replied before she could. "There's no issue, Captain. Just an assumption that needed correcting." The captain nodded. "Dr. Carter, please, Allow me to escort you on board." Naomi inclined her head. "Thank you." As she walked down the jet bridge, she could feel the weight of 100 eyes behind her, some embarrassed, some ashamed, and a few, still defiant. Inside the cabin, the purser, Maria, greeted her warmly. "Dr. Carter, it's an honor to have you with us. Please, allow me to assist with your luggage." Naomi smiled. "Thank you. I'm fine." As she settled into her seat, a woman across the aisle whispered, "I can't believe the gate agent did that." To her of all people. Naomi simply put on her headphones. She didn't need to say a word. But what she didn't know was that the video recorded at the gate had already been uploaded online. And within hours, it would explode. By the time Flight 72 reached cruising altitude, the video had over 2 million views. The caption read, "Black woman blocked from first-class boarding. Seconds later, everyone realizes she's the CEO of a Fortune 500 company." Twitter erupted. Another day, another example of casual racism. Imagine being that gate agent right now. Dr. Naomi Carter handled that with more grace than most of us could. By the time Naomi landed in London, reporters were waiting. Her assistant, Lena, rushed to her side. "Dr. Carter, your name's trending in 10 countries." Naomi sighed. "Of course it is." Lena handed her a phone. "The airline's already issued an apology. They want to meet with you." Naomi thought for a moment, then said, "Good. I'll see them, but not for an apology." The next morning, Naomi sat in a conference room overlooking the River Thames. Across from her were the airline CEO, the VP of operations, and 2 public relations executives, all visibly nervous. "Dr. Carter," the CEO began, "we deeply regret what happened at JFK. The employee in question." Naomi raised a hand gently. "Please, don't make this about one employee. Make it about the system that made her think her reaction was normal." The room went silent. Naomi continued, her tone even but firm. "You don't fix bias by firing one person. You fix it by training 1,000. The PR director nodded slowly. "We'd like to compensate you." "I don't want compensation," Naomi interrupted. "I want commitment." "Commitment?" "Yes," she said. "A commitment that your airline will invest in bias awareness, cultural sensitivity, and diversity leadership, not just as a statement, but as policy." The CEO looked stunned. "You'd help us with that?" Naomi smiled slightly. "I'll lead it." 2 months later, the airline launched a global initiative called Flight Forward, a mandatory inclusivity program for all staff, designed by Dr. Naomi Carter herself. The campaign became a corporate model across the aviation industry. But Naomi's influence didn't stop there. The viral video had opened doors she didn't even know existed. She was invited to speak at the United Nations, where she said, "Bias doesn't always wear a mask of hate. Sometimes it hides behind a smile, and a question like, 'Are you sure you belong here?'" The audience gave her a standing ovation. Meanwhile, the gate agent, Heather, reached out privately. She wrote, "Dr. Carter, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much harm my assumptions caused. I've been enrolled in diversity training. Thank you for turning this into something positive." Naomi replied, "Accountability is the first step. Growth is the next." Months later, during another flight, Naomi boarded quietly, first class, as always. But this time, something felt different. A flight attendant approached her with a smile. "Dr. Carter, welcome back. It's an honor to have you." Naomi smiled. "Thank you. It's good to see progress." As she sipped her tea mid-flight, she looked out the window, clouds glowing beneath the sunrise. Her assistant leaned over. "Do you ever get tired of fighting these battles?" Naomi shook her head. "No. Because every time we rise above ignorance with dignity, we win more than respect, we win change." And somewhere at 35,000 feet, Dr. Naomi Carter smiled. Because she knew, sometimes, justice doesn't come from anger. It comes from grace under pressure. When Dr. Naomi Carter stood at that gate, she wasn't just a woman with a ticket. She was a mirror, reflecting a truth society often tries to ignore. Her story reminds us that success doesn't shield you from prejudice, but how you respond to it can define the world you create. She didn't yell. She didn't demand vengeance. She chose dignity over drama. And because of that, she changed an entire system. If this story moved you, if it made you believe that kindness, intelligence, and courage can rewrite the narrative, don't just scroll past. Subscribe to this channel for more powerful, true-to-life stories that reveal the reality behind everyday discrimination, and how people fight it with strength and grace. Comment below, what would you have done if you were in Dr. Carter's place? Would you have stayed calm, or spoken out? Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Because awareness begins with stories, and change begins with you. Remember, never let anyone decide where you belong. Because respect isn't a privilege of class, it's a right of character. And as Dr. Naomi Carter proved, sometimes the most powerful statement isn't what you say. It's what you don't have to say at all.